The character of Mariah Copela on The Young and the Restless has quite an unusual history, so it's no wonder that some fans might find themselves wondering exactly who this young woman is. Part of the confusion stems from who plays her. Cameron Grimes introduced the character in January of 2014, but from 1997 to 2005 on Y&R, she previously played Cassie Newman. Read on, because we promise it will all make sense. Eventually, Sharon Newman was rattled when she began hallucinating visions of her dead daughter, Cassie, who urged her to confess to the secret she was keeping. Sharon had switched DNA test results to make Nick believe Summer wasn't his daughter. She went back on her medication and was horrified to still see Cassie, but even more so when she found she could touch her. It was then revealed that the young woman was not actually Nick and Sharon's late daughter, but a lookalike named Mariah Copela who Victor Newman had hired to gaslight Sharon to keep Nick away from her. Sharon was stunned to learn that she had a daughter she never knew about. Howard Wise/JapaStudios.com. After the truth about her identity came out, it was also revealed that Mariah was the ex-fiancée of Tyler Michelson and had outstanding warrants for a robbery in Portland. Sharon was drawn to her daughter's doppelganger and helped her settle her past to start a new future in Genoa City. Nick hired Mariah to work at his club, The Underground, and she grew closer to the entire family, including his daughter, Faith. But when Sharon thought Mariah was attempting to seduce Nick, she threw her out of the house. It was the devious Ian Ward who had pushed Mariah to get close to the Newmans and move in with Nick and Sharon. In fact, Nick then discovered that Sharon was Mariah's mother, and Helen Copela had stolen Cassie's twin sister to give to Ian. The villain abducted Mariah and drugged her into marrying him before Nick and Sharon were able to rescue her. Moved back in with them, but Mariah struggled to accept Sharon as her mother. Their shared sarcasm made Kevin and Mariah great friends, but not so great lovers. Sean Smith/JapaStudios.com. Mariah struck up a friendship with Kevin Fisher that turned into a romance, but it never really went anywhere. She also kissed Austin, but he ended up dead, and Mariah found herself caught up in a murder mystery as she and her friends attempted to uncover his killer. She also got mixed up with Kevin and Natalie in a business venture called Passkey, but the less said about that, the better. Although Mariah had accepted Sharon as her mother, she was appalled to learn that she had been raising Christian Newman as Sully and letting Dylan think he was his son. She agreed to keep the secret, but continued to urge Sharon to come clean. Hillary Curtis hired Mariah as a gopher for GC Buzz, and despite their contentious working relationship, they eventually became co-hosts. She briefly dated Devin Hamilton, which made Hillary super jealous, but Mariah eventually befriended musician Tessa Porter and an attraction grew. Neither Mariah nor Tessa were ready for this moment. Howard Wise/JapaStudios.com. After they shared a kiss, Mariah and Tessa were both afraid of their feelings and stepped back, but Mariah was later furious when Tessa stole her journal and used her private thoughts to write a new song. They eventually reconciled and continued working together as friends at GC Buzz. Upon his return to town, Kyle Abbott picked up on the attraction and urged Mariah to give it another go with Tessa. She finally gave in and entered into a real relationship with the musician, but they hit further roadblocks when Mariah discovered that her girlfriend had been blackmailing Sharon, Victoria, and Nikki to raise the cash to give her former prostitute sister, Crystal, a new life. Mariah agreed to stick close to Tessa in order to figure out just how much she knew, but in the end, actually reconciled with her girlfriend. After Hillary's death, Mariah took over at GC Buzz, but after being stalked, decided to give up being on camera. Devin transferred her over to work at Power Communications instead, where she found herself clashing with Theo Vanderway. When Tessa's ex, Tanner Watts, arrived in town, Mariah was stunned to learn her girlfriend had never mentioned being married in the past, but ultimately urged her to go on tour with him as it would be great for her career. While Tessa was out of town, Mariah was crushed to be fired by Devin and learned that Sharon was battling breast cancer. She confided her troubles to Lindsay, and they were unfortunately in a very close moment when Tessa came home and caught them together. Mariah explained she thought Tessa was sleeping with Tanner, but insisted nothing had happened between her and Lindsay, but Tessa just stormed off. And when Mariah tried to explain and beg her forgiveness and understanding, Tessa refused to take her back and dumped her. Mariah was happy to help Abby make her dream come true. HowardWise/JapaStudios.com Mariah went out of her way to apologize and make it up to Tessa, who eventually forgave her and agreed to give their relationship another shot but warned that one more mistake and it was over for good. Mariah then supported Sharon during her battle with breast cancer and acted as Abby Newman's maid of honor when she tied the knot with Chance Chancellor. She was later stunned when Abby asked her to be their surrogate, and after discussing it with Tessa and getting her approval, Mariah agreed to carry their baby. She and Tessa moved into the Chancellor estate and learned the baby was a boy. Mariah got suspicious when Abby's ex, Ben Stitch Rayburn, returned to Genoa City for a visit, and shortly after he left, Mariah went missing. Although Mariah kept sending texts to her friends to reassure her that she just needed some time away, it was later revealed that she was being held captive by someone in a room somewhere. Thankfully, her family was able to deduce that Stitch was her kidnapper, and Devin and Abby got to her just as she gave birth to her baby. Abby was thrilled that Dominic was safe and healthy, but Mariah had grown attached to Bowie while in captivity and struggled to let go. Eventually, she took a step back, but her baby obsession continued when she suggested to Tessa that they start a family of their own. Initially wary, Tessa eventually agreed, suggesting that they adopt. Stay tuned to see what happens next. Adblock test, why?